This Memorial Day weekend, as we honor more than 1 million servicemen and women who sacrificed their lives to defend our nation and our freedoms, we come face to face with hard evidence that the deep state planned to take down our duly elected president. A deep state from President Obama on down that did everything in its power to destroy Donald Trump. The latest? A spy placed in the Trump campaign. Sound loony? Well, last year, we thought you'd have to be wearing a tinfoil hat to believe President Trump when he said that he'd been wiretapped. And now we know secret surveillance was conducted on at least 7 Trump associates. An unmasking of Americans done at a 350% increase in the presidential election year by Obama deep staters. And now we find out a spy was placed by the FBI in the Trump campaign. You can be sure that there's more as the DOJ and FBI fight the release of information sought by Congress. So, will they ever admit there was a spy?
As best I can tell, it's made up. I don't know where he's getting that from, honestly.
Do you find that to be at all possible or probable? I'm going to just play devil's advocate, that there was a spy inserted into his campaign by an intelligence agency?
I don't find it possible, and I know it not to be true.
I think it's very typical of Mr. Trump to mischaracterize. He's a master of mischaracterization and dishonesty. To label someone as a spy when they're a confidential human source, I think, is doing a disservice to these individuals, but also to the FBI.
But like most liars, they can't keep their stories straight. Clapper, on the other hand, pretty much admits there was a spy, and he thinks Trump should be grateful.
Was the FBI spying on Trump's campaign?
No, they were not. They were spying on a term I don't particularly like, but on what the Russians were doing, trying to understand, were the Russians infiltrating, trying to gain access, trying to gain leverage and influence.
So why doesn't he like
what they do?
So why doesn't he like that? He should be happy that.
Well, he should be.
If ever you weren't sure who to believe, I'm going to make this real easy for you. The Obama administration was so determined to get Hillary Clinton elected and Donald Trump defeated that they let Hillary skate on her criminal activity and created a narrative of criminal activity on the part of Donald Trump. They created a false predicate, a made-up dossier, paid for by Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and the FBI in order to get a court to approve spying on Trump's campaign. And they were allowed to spy on the campaign for a year. They kept it close. Only the highest level of the FBI, not the field offices. The highest levels worked together to take Trump down. They planned insurance in the event their girl Hillary didn't win. They leaked information harmful to Donald Trump to the press. And it was ahead of the FBI at the behest of James Clapper, who privately told the president about the fake dossier so that they could leak it to the press and the world. So who are you going to believe? Take a look at this chart. They're all liars. James Comey, the head of the FBI, lied about whether he had ever been an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump or Clinton investigations. He replied, never. But Mr. Leaker himself had to admit that he did so. Comey also lied before Congress when he testified that he briefed the president about the dossier because he learned the media was about to report on it. In truth, Comey briefed Trump for the very purpose of getting that dossier out to the public. And Comey said his investigation of Hillary was thorough. In truth, he wrote an exoneration memo long before essential witnesses were even interviewed. And of course, his deputy director, Andrew McCabe, that I didn't even put on my chart, lied so many times the guy had to be fired. And to get someone to fire in that agency is amazing. And Attorney General Loretta Lynch, who pushed to call the Clinton investigation a matter, lied when she said there were no emails between her department and the FBI when she used an email with a fake name to write about her infamous tarmac meeting with former President Clinton. James Clapper, another hoot, the director of the National Intelligence Agency, pretty much lies whenever he opens his mouth, like when he lied before Congress in answer to a quite direct question about whether or not his agency collected data on hundreds of millions of Americans. He said no, not wittingly. He also lied about the Trump dossier, saying he never leaked it to CNN. He since admitted that he did, and now he's on CNN's payroll. John Brennan, head of the CIA, lied and said the Steele dossier was not part of the intelligence community's evidence on Russian interference in the 2016 election. And again, liars not being able to keep their stories straight, he was contradicted by Clapper. Now, you remember Susan Rice. Her lying started long before Benghazi and that despicable video. She also lied and said that in the final days of the Obama administration, she knew nothing about the surveillance of President-elect Trump and people around him. And she knew nothing about identities being unmasked. Shortly thereafter, she came clean, telling House investigators she unmasked senior Trump officials. And the big kahuna at the top, just before the inauguration, President Obama created new rules that allowed intelligence historically protected within one agency to be spread across at least 16 agencies, signaling to his people, let it all hang out and leak your heart away on Trump. So I, for one, am sick and tired of these liars, leakers, and liberals attacking our president and our democracy when they are the ones who tried to frame him. Here's a primer for all of you. If you're going to set up a president to try to frame him, do it against someone who's dumber than you are.
Saturday night, and Donald Trump has more balls in the air than a juggling nudist. He's got North Korea, the midterms, MS-13. Speaking of those fine chaps, let's begin with a quiz. An MS-13 thug just got sentenced to 40 years in jail for crimes involving a murder of a teenager. Quick question, what was his gang nickname?
Animal.
Animal.
Animal? Animal. Animal.
Imagine that, it wasn't Fluffy. Cuddles or Captain Snugglepuss. And you wonder why Trump's numbers keep rising like Chris Matthews' blood pressure. Because he's right. He's targeting animals, and they're parsing words. So imagine that your house is on fire, and your neighbor calls the police because you were yelling fire too loud. That's the media when it comes to MS-13. Now check out the response to Trump pulling out of the North Korea summit.
Surprise cancellation of a planned summit with Kim Jong-un.
There's a stunning turnaround today. President Trump canceled the June 12th summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un.
That is pretty stunning, isn't it?
Well, if you're shocked by that, then you're probably shocked every day by your own feet. Oh my God, where did these come from? Fact is, this occurs in negotiations, and all Trump does is negotiate. I'm sure at his own funeral, he'd try to cut a deal with the gravedigger. Of course, the media can only see the bad in Trump, and with North Korea, it comes in two flavors: mock Trump for staying in, mock Trump for pulling out. They're bi-Trumpial. They want it both ways. No wonder America rates the press only slightly higher than gout. But media anger is derived from a delusion that they can't shake. Trump is evil and or stupid, but never ever right. This delusion's getting worse. If only we had a delusion stripper.
A single-page letter with worldwide implications. The meeting is canceled. President Trump scuttling his much-anticipated summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un.
This whole thing is headed for disaster. Donald Trump won't stop until he destroys the whole country.
You sure? Maybe it's not as bad as you always think.
Of course I'm sure. That's what they said about Hitler. This president is worse than MS-13.
Dude, seriously, you're not living in reality. You need the delusion stripper.
What's that?
Come on, follow me.
It's actually a very serious situation.
Hit him, fellas.
This president is authoritarian. He doesn't have any reason to survive it, and I can't even believe me as our president.
You've just been hit by the delusion stripper. Feel any different now?
No! He has been president for over a year.
How about now?
So cold! What is that thing?
The delusion stripper is a retrofitted garden hose that uses laser technology to hit you directly in the face. You'll be so stunned by the precisely calibrated 33-degree water, your delusions about the president will be gradually stripped away. Working yet?
I can't feel my face.
That's the hypothermia setting in. But how do you feel about Mr. Trump?
You mean the president who stood up to Iran and North Korea? Thanks, delusion stripper.
So get the Delusion Stripper today. Also available in pocket-sized model.
Just an excuse to spray water on Tom Shalhoub. So this summit snag, should that bother you? No, because it's Trump. And he isn't these guys. See, Trump knows when to leave the table. Obama, Hillary, Kerry, they can't even find the table. Which is weird since Kerry is made from a table. Besides, he's a wooden fellow. Delayed clapping. And North Korea already wants back in, but the media is still obsessed with collusion while dismissing the other story that at least one dude was paid tons of money to spy on the Trump campaign. It's great watching the media spin this. First they say, there's no spying. But if there was spying, then it's good spying. It's like a spy hug. But it's definitely not spying, which is why we can't tell you the name of the not spy, so please don't blow his cover because he's not spying. Here's a handy video to help you follow the media's take on all of this. I could watch that forever. So the media is tied up in knots as Trump rolls on. Here he is at Annapolis on Friday.
We are respected again, I can tell you that. We are respected again. The best way to prevent war is to be fully prepared for war. We are witnessing the great reawakening of the American spirit and of American might. We have rediscovered our identity, regained our stride, and we're proud again.
So did you hear that? That's Trump not just speaking to us, but to the world. Trump speaks the language everyone, including our enemies, understands. How do you know this? Because it pisses off the very people who can't do it, meaning the media. Trump says America first. The Brits get it. Russia gets it. China gets it. Everyone but CNN gets it. The message, America is no longer the world's welcome mat for them to wipe their shoes on. If you say walk softly and carry a big stick, to do that, you got to show the stick now and then. And so Trump has hijacked the bullhorn. Before, it was always Hollywood that transmitted our values to the world. It said we were guilty oppressors. Not anymore. America's got a new spokesman. So it's no longer, hi, we're America, and we're sorry. It's, hi, we're America, deal with it. Let us welcome tonight's guest. He got bin Laden to really open up. Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill. He's so sharp, his thoughts come with warning labels. Writer and comedian Chris Freed. Yay. She puts the cat in Cat Lady. National Review reporter Cat Tim. One cat. His favorite dessert is baked Alaska. Literally, the entire state baked. Former WWE superstar, Mass Sidekick Kyrus. All right. Rob.
Yes.
Was Trump wrong to call up the meeting with Kim Jong-un?
Absolutely not. He should have done exactly that because he knows how to negotiate from a position of strength, and that's what you do. I mean, he even got them to blow up their nuclear arsenal, and then he pulled out, which is awesome, I think. I mean, it's not his first... This is not the first deal he's made. He wrote a bestseller called Art of the Deal, not Art of Benghazi. So he actually, Yes.
That was kind of a thing that happened in Libya a while back.
No, but it's perfect. I mean, and he showed right away that he has the power. He can pull out. Kim Jong-un really wants back, and I'd be willing to bet that high-level government officials probably looking at the business end of like an anti-aircraft gun at this point. Kim Jong-un is not happy with him. And Kim Jong-un wants it just because he likes the being famous.
Yeah, he's now on the world stage.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people don't like that, but the fact is sometimes you got to bring people onto the stage in order to change them, I believe. I don't know.
And there's a lot more to it, but just simply backing away one time, the liberal media was all over it. It's going to be fail. And they would rather not have world peace than have Trump succeed.
Yeah.
But him pulling out, it's like, just take a wrap off. This is how negotiation works. This is how real negotiation works.
That's true.